Stock Planner here. Today is February 23rd. It's a snowy day here in Virginia. Getting ready for the market open. I'm a swing trader looking for the bottoms and tops of the market and then that trend in between. I look for reversals, place a trade, and then capture that trend. This morning I'm going to look at the strategic view of the market and then hunt for 2 or 3 possible trades. That's all I need as a swing trader this week because first of all, my funds are depleted because of the last 2 weeks, and so I don't have a lot of capital to invest. 1 or 2 good trades is all I need. So let's get right into it, looking at the strategic view. And I like to use FinViz, it's free. This is a free setup. U.S. stock futures are sliding according at 4:30 in the morning because they fear Trump and war fears. So I do think that the geopolitical risks this week need to be paid attention to, more so than the earnings headlines. And there's not a lot of news this week. I'm always concerned about the continued violence in Ukraine and the rising tensions around Iran. This past week, there's been a lot of uncertainty concerning the tariffs. The Supreme Court made a ruling against Trump. Then immediately he added 10 to 15% global tariffs on the countries that he wanted or felt were taking advantage of the United States. Whether tariffs are good or bad, they're going to affect the market. The politics here in our own country are of concern as well. The government shutdown concerning ICE and the fraud issues that's still hanging over Minnesota. And I've got to tell you, here in Virginia, I am concerned about election integrity, especially with the heavy gerrymandering map that we have being proposed. We need to have stability going into our elections. That's critical. People need to know that their vote counts and that no non-citizen is voting. This week, as you can see, the economic calendar is kind of weak. This is Forex Factory. I like their calendar. President speaks on Tuesday, Thursday. Unemployment claims, that's bound to affect the market a little bit. That's at 8:30. And then these productivity reports on Friday that have minor effect, but they do affect the market. And the reason why I like Forex is you can filter for the reds, the critical ones, the non-critical ones. You can get everything, and I just want the U.S. So the bottom line, I think, for this week is that whatever headline appears, that is what's going to affect the market most heavily. And of course, anything that Donald Trump says does affect the market. So let's get into some stock analysis, and we're going to look first at the Magnificent Seven. By the way, this is a TradingView chart, and they have their free levels and their paid levels, and it's relatively cheap. But you can do a lot of analysis with this tool, and I like it because it updates automatically. I've used other tools where I have to download data and feed it, and that is a lot of work. And TradingView has an ability to have a watch list, and I have a watch list for the Magnificent Seven. But also in TradingView, in mid-March, they're having a contest on the Magnificent Seven. Might be a great way to learning, and you can get some free stuff. I sometimes participate, but I very seldom place, but I don't win. In other words, I think I'm in about the top 20 to 10%, somewhere in that area. Some people spend a lot of time with it. I'm spending maybe 2 minutes a day. Anyway, I sort this list according to the percentages, and if I was going to buy these stocks, and I'm very much interested in all of them, I'd like to see a little pullback. And so Microsoft, it's been in a slump lately with this downtrend, and my indicators reflect that. This is a zigzag indicator right there. It picks the bottoms and tops perfectly, but it repaints itself. And I use it to look at other indicators to see, other indicators that don't repaint themselves, to see how they're doing, bottoms, tops. And perhaps maybe this is a level of support. Maybe it'll bounce off of support and go up. This is the RSI, and I want to use a lot of indicators. And this is the MACD, and this is the 200 moving average. It's an SMA. And a lot of people think that if the stock is above the 200 moving average, the trend is generally up. And you can see that Microsoft, the trend is generally up. Now, the RSI, when it's below the 30, sometimes that indicates that it's going to be a trend reversal. And that you can see that that's pretty much the case, and that's pretty much the case there. And likewise, when it's above the 70, sometimes you can see a trend reversal. And sometimes you get a top rider like that one did. So RSI's not perfect. There's a trend reversal there, and yeah, you can see that kind of went down too. Right now you can see that RSI is below the 30. Are we having a trend reversal? It's just an indicator. There's no telling, but I have a lot of faith in Microsoft, and I have bought and sold puts. Sold puts is a long strategy against Microsoft. The MACD is still pointing down, and so is the histogram is all red, and that's indicating that we're still in a downtrend according to the MACD. The MACD is slower, but you can see there's a crossover there. The crossovers, and crossovers. Let's see how that works out. There's a downtrend, and there's a downtrend, and there's a small downtrend. That one that works so good. And then, of course, this rise up. So I just use to see how well my indicators are working. That's why I use this indicator, which is called the zigzag. It's a visual indicator. It's not, you can't really trade with it unless it's not. Sometimes you can see. I always say that when the zigzag doesn't know what it's doing, that's what's chance to take a look to see if a reversal is going to happen. Right now, the zigzag doesn't know what it's doing. I think there's still opportunity in Tesla too, and so does my wife, which is a beginner trader. She's been watching some videos from other creators. That's what wives do. They don't listen to their husband. And they're saying that Tesla could go up to $1,000. Okay, let's see what TradingView says about Tesla for the next year. They're neutral on it, and they're saying that over the next year it's not going up so much. I guess a lot of this depends on what Donald Trump does. And maybe that's why this stock is not breaking out like some of the others. NVIDIA, near its all-time highs, but bopping around up there. Apple, I don't see any real opportunities here. TradingView says it's a buy, and it can grow about 12 to 13% over the next year. Meta, certainly above the 200-day moving average. Amazon, could be an opportunity there, though. We have the RSI below the 30. Sometimes you start looking for a reversal. The MACD is still pointing down above the 200-day moving average, and it's below the 20. This is what this little blue line is, below the 20, and that's your zone to keep an eye out. Maybe it's a buy zone. If it's below the 20, that means that the short-term trend is starting to fade a little bit, but the long-term trend is still holding. Amazon certainly is a potential. I think there's room. Let's see what TradingView says. Yes, it should go up to $280. It's $240, 48, 280 up to here over the next year. Amazon is a potential. Pull back in Google with a 20% increase over the next year. At target price should be about 378 up in there. MACD just crossed over for Google, and I think we'll hold. Remember, I'm looking at a weekly chart, by the way. Each of these candles are a week's worth of data. I'm a little slower. I don't like all the noise of the lower time frames. I used to trade on 4 hour, been done there and done that. It's too erratic, and I'm getting too old. So to conclude the Magnificent Seven, looks like Amazon could be a potential long. 2 weeks ago, it really pulled back. I do think that's a long-term trade. And of course, Microsoft. I'm still a believer. Now I want to look at some stocks that I want to own forever. And I'm sorting for the most red, because again, I'm trying to look for those pullbacks. And CrowdStrike seems to be the biggest pullback recently. And let's see, can we see some support? Maybe right there. There, almost touched there. Maybe the support is there. And the target price is over 40% over the next year, going as high as $546, just up to here. That's almost back to its all-time high. This is an expensive stock, but you could do a credit spread, a bull put spread on this 6 to 8 months out. And but listening to other traders, they're recommending CrowdStrike. Now Kroger, I traded once or twice last year, and it's not the time. Even though we had a crossover on the MACD, I'm thinking this stock will pull back further. We're above the 200 moving average, so that stock is still moving up. Good sign. I do like the pharmaceuticals, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, all-time high. Some people might think it's just time to short at its all-time high. Maybe it's going to pull back. I'm not shorting a good stock. I think AMD, I looked at this earlier, and some creators are saying, don't buy AMD, it's slowing up. TradingView says it is a buy, and this stock could go as high as $288. Way up here. New all-time highs. Right in there, right somewhere right in there. So I'm still a believer in AMD. SoFi, everybody loves it. Pull back lately. Keep an eye on it. It's a very popular stock, and it's a cheap stock. I think I would wait for the RSI to cross over the 30 and come back around. Looking back at SoFi, when it's below the 30, a good indication that a reversal is going to happen soon. The MACD is still pointing down. Its level of support is right there. Could it bounce off of support and go up? Certainly. Technicals are saying sell, of course. The analyst ratings are neutral right now. Wait and see. But a 1-year target price is $26, and that's a return of about 4 weeks ago level. So it's possible it could return and bounce back and go back up. And this is a 1-year price target, though. Have you lost faith in SoFi? It's a stock that you hear about all the time. So this is a visualization tool for option strat. And we're going to put SoFi in here. And we're going to go out to January, almost a year. And we're going to sell a put. And I have a level 4 account, so I get a little better margin. And then to sell at the money here, which I do think is going to go up. And I'd be inclined to go and keep it at the money put. I'll get a net credit of $477 with a small amount of margin, under 500. And as long as it stays above 15, which is currently it's 19, I'm going to have a winner on my hands. That's significant. 15. Remember that. But you could ramp this thing down. Your margin reduces. You get this stock cheaper. And you still get $220 for an investment as small as $150. I think it's worth the risk. Let's go back and look at our chart. $15. $15 is down here. As long as the stock stays above $15, you have a winner on your hands. I have not lost faith in SoFi. So it's definitely on my list. And the last one I want to talk about is a firm. Again, SoFi, firm, AMD, Microsoft. These are stocks that I trade constantly. And there is a firm, significant pullback over the last 5 weeks. Target price, according to the analysts, is $85. Way back up here. Level support is down here. Will it still come down? There is your 200-day moving average. It's above that. We like that. And we like it below. We like the 20 moving average. Below. The price is below the 20 moving average. That's a zone that we like. RSI is below. And that's a good indication that a reversal might happen soon if you believe the RSI. MACD is a little slow yet, but there you go, and there you go. A little slow, and probably a little slow here. Now let's do some scanning next, because I'll do that constantly early in the morning. Scan for stocks on my watch lists. Not all the stocks in the universe, only the ones I know a little bit about. Now before we go through a few scans, I want to tell you one more thing about watch lists. You can color code them, and this color code can go across multiple watch lists. Magnificent Seven, Elon Musk, the type of stocks that'll look to the future, robotics, that kind of thing. And we'll see this in just a minute. Let's go to a scan. First scan I would like to do is undervalued and growing. And these are just U.S. stocks, and the scan found 315, but I don't want to use that. I want to go to my own forever, and none of them fit my criteria, which is the PE growing, PEG ratio type thing. If it's under one, that's a sign that the stock is growing, and undervalued, basically undervalued. Price book under 2 means if you break the company apart, there's still something left over. Revenue growth is growing, Anything above 0 is growing, and the target price is above 10%. But we didn't find nothing in undervalued, under the own forever. Let's go to the color code and choose stocks over several watch lists. And the first one I want to go to is PayPal. It's a stock I've traded for many times this over the last year. This is on the daily view. RSI below the 30. We have a MACD that's flipped around, looking like it's going up. Unfortunately, this stock is in a downtrend according to the 200-day moving average. And we had this large gap recently. A lot of traders think that that gap will fill and this stock will go up. Block RSI below the 30, and that's normally a sign that we're going to see an upswing, and we have a crossover or almost a crossover on the MACD. It fits our criteria. Another scan I have is a earnings play, recent earnings over the last week, and the idea is that we had earnings, everybody's excited, it'll jump up and then slowly pull back based on the hype, or go the other way. It'll sell off and then things will stabilize. Palo, Alto networks, Nancy Pelosi's favorite. She made a lot of money on this one. Earnings, a drop. Has it stabilized? You'll have to decide that for yourself. This stock is in a downtrend. The analysts believe this is a buy, and that you could see a 40% rise in price to 209. 209 is way up here. I like it. Cheesecake Factory had recently had earnings. It's a favorite for one of the creators on YouTube, and I don't think there's any in or out on this stock at the moment. It just reported earnings, and they haven't done anything. The earnings have not caused anything for price. The last scan I want to go over is buy the pullback. The criteria for this is analyst ratings of a buy, strong buy, and neutral. The weekly RSI is below the 40. The SMA is greater than the price. That's the SMA 20 is greater than the price. In other words, it has short-term pullback. The SMA 200, the price is above the SMA 200, which means we have an uptrend. It's in an uptrend yet, and the target is at least 10% above what's current price. And the criteria for this was met by only two stocks. Idexx Pharmaceuticals, MACD crossover, RSI recently, could spell a pop. Idexx is a very expensive stock, currently at $635. If you do a bull put spread, which consists of selling a put and buying a protective put slightly below, you need about $1,000 worth of margin. You receive $400 in credit, and this stock has to stay above $596 or $600. $596 is right there. If you sell an option, if you buy it now, you'll get to buy it at $623. This is the benefit of selling options. And we're going all the way out to October on this bull put spread. I like to sell them. It's very easy to do. Buy a couple shares because it's expensive stock, or do a bull put spread. The other stock is Neo, Medical Nursing Services Company. Boy, that's going down, isn't it? Above the 200-day moving average, that's fine, and below the 20. Of course, the technicals say sell. Yep. The analyst ratings is a buy, and it should go up to about 40%, up to 1383. So you have an expensive stock, and now you have a cheap stock. So I think you could do something with this. I'm starting to run out of time, but I want to conclude this and say that if you're trying to build a list of buys for the week, Microsoft, Amazon, CrowdStrike, AMD, SoFi, PayPal, Palo Alto Networks, IDXX, and of course this one, Neo, are all eligibles to keep an eye out. So what do you think of this trade and trades and list? Do you do your analysis for the week? Do you have watch lists? Do you have a domain of stocks that you are familiar with? My domain is about 350 stocks. I guess Jim Cramer's is 2,000 stocks that he knows something about. But you really only need about 30 stocks that you can just kind of wait it out and are confident that you wish you could own forever. Get started on building your watch list. Get started on paper trading. Get started on analysis. Start using the tools. That's something you can do today, even without money. TradingView is free, and remember to do your own due diligence. If you learn it, you can win for life. I want you to have a good week. Happy trading. We'll catch you on the flip. Remember to like and subscribe this video.